This week's episode of Renai Boukun, or aka by the English title, Love Tyrant, is separated into two segments once again. First half of the episode focuses on Guri, while the second half of the episode focuses on Akane. And even though there is some differences, there is a lot of similarities between both of these segments of this episode. So, the first half of the episode focuses on Guri, and her kind of reconfirming her feelings, and also finding out, does she truly love Seiji? Does she like him? For instance, does she have any romantic feelings? And so much of the first half of the episode is her exploring this to see, does she really know what love is? Does she really love Seiji? And what is different about him compared to all these other guys out there? And so to actually do this and have this first half of the episode, this new guy pops up, basically, and he's like, hey, you know, I like girls like you and all that. You want to go on a date. And basically, Guri decides to go with this guy, and throughout much of the first half of the episode, basically, she's saying, wow, you're much nicer. You're a good dude. You're liking what I'm doing. You like to listen to what I want to say. Just overall, the dude was a really nice guy. And Guri was like, you're really kind. You're really different compared to, Seiji and how he constantly treats me. But then as it continues on, the ending part of it, basically, he was about to kiss Guri, and there was a good atmosphere going on there, but the way it went off, it seemed like the dude was trying to take advantage of Guri. That's kind of how it looked like to me, how he was trying to take advantage of her and, make her fall in love with her when she had a sign of weakness, which in turn we found out thanks to the Demon King, he was the one that was actually causing that, which I'll get into that in a moment. But basically, though, throughout this entire segment, we found out that Guri, even though she admits that this dude is much nicer than Seiji, she says that she really likes how Seiji is as a person. She really likes spending time with him, and it's kind of how love really is. Love is illogical. It doesn't make any sense. That's how life is. I mean, you could fall in love in the strangest ways, and even though the dude was necessarily kind of a good guy throughout most of the episode, he still wasn't as good as Seiji when it came to Guri's eyes. She thought, Seiji was a better person, the way, he acted, the way, even though he didn't seem like he listened to her constantly, he did care for her, and he did look out for her. So there was constantly that going on throughout this episode, while Guri was thinking about him, and thinking, like, what would he do, what's different about this dude compared to him, and so this was, like, exploring Guri's character, and kind of how she would interact with others besides Seiji himself, which this first segment of the episode needed to happen, to kind of let us know, is she a proper candidate to be our main female character? Because so far, from what we've seen, she's a great character, she's funny, but it didn't seem since this point that she was really in love with Seiji. Like, she was just going along with the flow. But now seeing that conclusion to that segment when she kisses him, she's like, I like hanging out with you and all that, it kind of concludes the fact that she is getting feelings for him, and she is starting to understand what love is. So that was a really nice first segment, and there was some funny things here and there throughout the first half that I had a good smile to, but overall, it was decent, nothing amazing. Now, the second half of the episode is honestly what I've been waiting for a good long while. I've been waiting for, the development / characterization for Akane and, her sister and all that, and Shikimi. I've been waiting for the backstory of their family. That's what I've been wanting since, they've been throwing constant hints at it for many episodes now since the introduction of these characters. There's been constant hints thrown about them. For instance, they have these weird powers, there's something off about their family, just many little details here and there throughout the episodes. And they've constantly been hinting at this. And so it's something I've been really looking forward to finding out, because I want to know more about her. What made Akane like she is? Why is she, like a yandere? Why is Yuzu like she is? Why is Shikimi like she is? There's many things I want to know about these characters, why they act like they do. And also I want to know, why did Akane fall in love with Seiji in the first place? Which we do get that in this episode. So the flashback in this episode that focuses on Akane, it was very different from the normal traditional harem series. Normally, when you have a girl fall in love with a guy in a harem series, usually it's the guy doing something nice for the girl. Like, let's take an example. Let's say this girl's in trouble, she's in the alleyway, this dude's about to rob her or do something heinous to her. Basically, the main male character, he pops up, he stops the dude, he beats the shit out of him, or he takes a punch, and the dude just doesn't want to mess with the girl anymore. He basically walks off, and the girl's like, you're amazing, you're a hero, and she falls in love with him. That's the typical harem route of how a girl falls in love with a guy, because he saves her. But that wasn't the case in this episode. Basically, Akane fell in love with Seiji in a different way. She fell in love with him because of herself, her being kind. For instance, treating him a little bit differently compared to everyone else. For instance, Sanji, he comes out of the alleyway after, Akane was already dealing with a problem. He comes out of the alleyway, he doesn't really see where he's going because he was dealing with a cat. He bumps into her, obviously fan service, bumps into her oppai, bounces off, she's about to stab a bitch, and basically, she realizes he didn't mean to. Didn't result in the standard, slap scene, which high five to, Love Tyrant for that. I'm so glad there wasn't a, stereotypical slap scene for that, so good shit there. But basically, he bounced off, he hit the ground, he didn't really know what was going on, and she realized he was injured, but he was worried about the cat, and so she decided to do a good deed on a whim. For instance, she just did it, not really trying or meaning to, she just helped him out because she just felt like it at that moment, for whatever reason. She was questioning herself, and basically, over time, after constantly meeting him, she found more out about him, she grew closer to him, and then attachment, and then she fell in love. So, I do like how Akane fell in love with him. It felt natural compared to the stereotypical stuff I see, or in this case, it felt different. It was different enough to where it didn't feel like so cliche. And even though this is a series that loves to ride off of cliches and tropes and all that, it tried to be different in that scene, which I do respect. So good shit there, Love Tyrant, for actually going that far for that part of the episode and Akane's character. So yeah, besides all that, let's talk about Akane's past. So her family is obviously very awful because her mother apparently beat her. Because there was a scene where she was bleeding and all that, she had, bruises and stuff all over her, so it's pretty obvious that Akane was being beat by her own mother, which is really messed up. It's completely awful, it's messed up, and it just goes to show you why she acts like she does, why she seems so cold when we saw her at a, younger age, when she always seemed distant from people. It makes a lot of sense now because of her upbringing, but also, she is not supposed to be with anyone. Apparently, from what she was taught as growing up, is that you should not fall in love with anyone because it can make you act like a fool, which, in some ways, love does make you act foolish. There is some truth to that. There really is. Regardless, though, basically, Akane still fell in love, and now she's in trouble because of it, and now our main characters have to save her. So that's kind of what the conflict is, and what's being set up for next week's episode. I'm actually really excited to see what's going to happen, and how Akane is going to change, and how she's going to connect with all of her other characters once she does get saved. Because let's be real here, she will be saved. I mean, that's common sense when it comes to, a harem series or whatever. Just, she will be saved, but the question is, how much will Akane develop/change because of what they're about to do? That is left to be seen. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.